Last time we have seen partly the boon which is granted to Savitri by the Divine Mother. 24 lines specifying exactly what he had asked for in his strong plea. He has got the list of items he wanted, this, and she is tick marking his entry in the list. And she is also adding something more of her own as a part of the boon, making it more specific, more definite what exactly should happen after her coming down as the incarnate word, incarnate force, you see, and when it should happen. So she is kind of specifying those elements also in her boon. The important thing which Savitri had asked for was, we had this line, let us quickly see that again. Let a great word be spoken from the heights, and one great act unlock the doors of faith. That is what he had asked. So the operative plea is in this sentence. Let the great word be spoken and the doors of faith be unlocked. Now, in response to that, she says, a seed shall be sown in this tremendous hour. A branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap her mortal step, and fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. That is what he had asked for, and she says, yes, it will happen. Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. Now, obviously, the details of what is fate, why the doors are kept locked, why they are not open at all, who is going to open the doors, what is going to happen after opening the door, those details are not directly given here. But we can infer some of those aspects from the various references to this context in the poem itself. Fate shall be changed and unchanging will. What is fate doing? Why the doors of fate were unlocked? Why the doors were locked? That was the important thing. The doors were locked. Why? Right in the beginning of the poem, Savitri, epic, we have, it was the hour before the gods awake. That is how the epic opens. And in the next sentence is, across the path of a divine event, the huge folding mind of night, alone in her unlit temple of eternity, lay stretched immobile upon silence march. So there is a connection between that mind of night sleeping across the path of the divine event. Something was blocking it. Something was holding back the forward march of the divine event. The divine event was not progressing at all, you see. So, that locking of the divine event is what is in a way referred to here in this sentence. Fate shall be changed and unchanging will. Unlock the doors of fate. It was blocking, unlock the doors so that the divine event can proceed further. What is the divine event? we are already saying that divine event is basically the manifestation of a new and marvelous creation which Ashwapati has established in the transcendent. That is there, that cannot come down here unless the doors of fate are unlocked. That divine event cannot proceed further unless the doors are opened out for that. Who is going to open out that door? She. She will come. She will incarnate. One shall descend and unlock the doors of fate. Unlock the doors of it. So there is a kind of a connection everywhere. You see, there is a harmony, a relationship, coherence of idea and presentation in the whole of Savitri epic. One aspect related here, there, they all get connected in a single way. So when you say fate shall be changed across the path of divine event, the mind of night is standing there. That mind of night has to be removed. That is the unlocking of the door. Then only the divine event can proceed further. Then only can the new creation which is established by him appear here upon earth. And the entire task, the whole mission, the purpose of Savitri taking the mortal birth is to unlock the doors of fate. So the entire thrust is now on this particular thing. She shall bear, okay, fate shall be changed when unchanging will. That is what we have already said. Unchanging will, she will come. And although there might be difficulties, there might be problems, there might be issues, she is not going to move away from her mission, her task of unlocking the doors of fate. So let us quickly run through this poem again, quickly enough. We have already seen partly last time. Oh, strong foreigner, I heard thy cry. One should descend. As I said last time, one should descend. She is basically saying, you wanted me to take a living form. Yes, I will come here. One should descend and break the iron law, the law of death. Iron law, that is the law of death. Law stands here for Yama, death. Change nature's doom with the lone spirit's power. Nature is stuck. It is in the hold of inconscience. And that doom of nature, it is only the power of the spirit that can dissolve. You see. A limitless mind that can contain the world, limitless mind of one who will descend. A sweet and violent heart of ardent calms. Last time I told you what calms is. You see. Moved with the passion to the gods shall come. All mice and greatnesses shall join in her. Now again, you see, here calms is plural, mice is plural, greatnesses is plural. This plurality of the divine attributes, the divine calm, calm of love, calm of beauty, calm of joy, calm of power, all these are different kinds of calm. It is not the same calm throughout. Same way might, the might of love, might of knowledge, might of truth, all these are different might. Greatnesses, their corresponding greatnesses are different. So the plural indicates the various attributes of the spirit which come into manifestation. Beauty shall walk celestial on the earth. This had never happened, but this will happen now. Beauty walking on the earth, ugly earth, turbid earth, dirty earth. She will come and walk here, you see. Delight shall sleep in the cloudnet of her hair and in her body, as on his homing tree, a mortal love shall beat his glorious wing. Love will come like a bird and live in her body. So again, the connection here is important. what is going to happen in the body is the presence of love. That is the most important thing. Love being housed by the physical, by the body. The important thing is, it's not beauty, it's not bliss, it is not knowledge, but it is love which should be housed by the body, by the physical itself, you see. The prominent thing is body. There is a connection directly between love and body in that sense, you see. And in our body, as on its hovering tree, immortal love shall beat his glorious wing. He is coming like a bird and going to sit here. Now this is again a description which has a kind of an allusion to one of the earlier passages in Savitri itself. That we are not seeing, we should be seeing it. The divine Savitri, she has not taken yet the human birth, but how that Savitri who will take birth is present there. The description of a Savitri poised to take the mortal birth is what we have in Canto 2 of Book 1, the issue. The issue described, this is a very beautiful description of the divine Savitri poised to take the mortal birth. And it is described to be as she is a perfection's shrine for the God of love. God of love. It is the God of love who will come and reside in that shrine. So this body and love again get connected with the perfection shrine who will house the God of love. We have got those who got this copy, 3.27. Here, with the suddenness, divine advance has, the divine advance has with suddenness. With the suddenness, this is what is happening here also. Repeating the marvel of the first descent, repeating the marvel of the first descent, the way in which love plunges into this creation, that is the first descent. It is that marvel which is now being described here. Repeating the marvel of the first descent, changing into rapture the dull earthly round. Love came to her, hiding the shadow, death. She is the shrine, she is the perfection, he is coming to her, love is coming to her. But how is he coming to live in the shrine? With shadow of death behind him always. He is coming, but behind he is the shadow of death always here. That is how she will come here. But now the shadow will be dissolved when she takes the birth. One shall descend and remove the shadow. One shall descend and remove the shadow. And then later on, toward the end of the same section, love. In her, in the divine Savitri, in her, 3.41, in her, he found a vastness like his own. His high, warm, subtle ether, he refound the way he was living and moved in her as in his natural home. He feels very happy, comfortable in that love. So that is a love who is going to decide in this body. And in our body, as on his hovering tree, immortal love shall beat his glorious wing. A music of grievous things shall weave her charms. Charms, again, see plural, sorry, charm. Her charm. The harps of the perfect shall attune her voice harps. The streams of heaven shall murmur, streams plural again, the streams of heaven shall murmur in her love. Her lips shall be the honeycomb. See that plural continues, honeycomb of God. Her limbs will golden jars of ecstasy. Her breast will wrapped with flowers of paradise. So that is the description of the one who descends the physical body. As I told you last time, we have described her spirit, her mind, her heart, and her physical form in every detail, in every aspect. That is how she will come here. Varam Gopam, the auspicious form. This is the auspicious form of the divine Savitri who will take the mortal birth. She shall bear wisdom. She shall bear wisdom in her voiceless bosom. Strength shall be with her like a conqueror's sword. Nobody can defeat her in the battle. Even if it is the god of death who is going to stand in front of her, he will be helpless. He will have to accept her superiority, her power. And from her eyes, the eternal bliss shall gaze. Now, this is something she is adding further to what he had asked for. If she shall be so in this tremendous hour, this tremendous hour. When will this happen? When will the gates of fate be unlocked? The gates of fate be unlocked in this tremendous hour. In this tremendous hour, the gates of fate will be unlocked. The divine event will take place, make further when death is present there. So in that sense, death is played a very crucial part, a pivotal part, a significant part, in a way a necessary part also. Death is not there for nothing. It is there to help in a certain way. And if you conquer death, then you are the master of everything, you see. Now, this tremendous hour, he has not told when that tremendous hour is going to arrive. Yes, it will happen. She has told us, so Ashwapati is keeping kind of hanging, anxious when that tremendous hour is going to arrive, you see, in that sense, you see. But they are already told about this tremendous hour in a way, right in the beginning of the poem, the last line of Canto 1, the Simple Dawn. This was the day when Satyavan must die. That is the last line of the Canto 1. This was the day when Satyavan must die. Satyavan must die. It is that must refers to the tremendous hour of death. Satyavan's death is connected to that tremendous hour of death. You see. He has to die, must die. He has to die. Unless he dies, he cannot move forward. Because if Savitri has to meet death, then somebody has to die so that through that she can approach death. See, it is not a kind of a battle from one world to the other world. It is face to face. Savitri has to see face to face death. Face to face, and that can happen. When somebody very intimate, very loving of her dies and she is in a position to meet death. So death of Satyavan is a must, so that death will appear there in front of her and she can then counter him in front of them. That is the tremendous hour of death which has to happen here. A seed shall be sown. So when Satyavan dies, then the seed will be sown and the tree of heaven will start sprouting up. A branch of heaven. He says branch of heaven. There is not the tree of heaven. Tree is too big for earth. Branch is enough for this little poor mortal world. If a branch comes, it's enough. it will grow. It has its own DNA, and then that DNA will do all the work which is necessary to be done here. You don't have to bring, but at the same time there is a seed also, so there is no question of that. A branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Branch of heaven, it means out of the infinite possibilities that are present in the spirit, in the transcendent, in the divine, it is a certain aspect of those possibilities which will come here upon earth. Not all the possibilities will come here. That may happen later on. But the immediate thing is the necessary possibilities. What are those necessary possibilities which will come into play in this tremendous hour of death? The possibilities are the possibilities given to the evolutionary process. Given to the evolutionary. Earth is the center for evolution, for growth, for expansion, of bringing down one by one the possibilities, the divine upon earth. That is why it is a branch. It is a single possibility in the evolutionary process which will proceed, which will progress. It is that which will persist. So when it says branch, yes, all that is required for the evolution to move now from the field of ignorance into the field of knowledge, it is that which will be opened out. The door of faith will be unlocked, means now the evolution is moving into the domain of light and force and beauty and joy of the spirit. Evolution. Once the evolutionary possibility is established upon earth, then possibly those will happen in other places also. Earth is the center where it will begin. Then other stars, other places, the whole galaxy, the whole sky is there and all that. Maybe we don't know about that, but that is too early also to speak. Only this happened here on earth, it is pointless to talk about other things also. So a branch of heaven, it is the evolutionary possibility which will be pursued into the domain of knowledge and light and power. In that sense, it is a branch. Transplant to human soil, human earthly evolutionary creature. Nature shall overleap our mortal step. She will not be evermore governed by the laws of mortality, but the laws of immortality will come into play, and then they shall be changed by unchanging will. So the whole thing, all these three are summarized in this one single decisive statement, determinative statement. Now this tremendous hour in the context of the epic, in the context of the text, and yogically, in the occult sense, many sattva are going to die. What is it that is going to determine the moment of his death? There has to be a kind of a yogic will to quit the body, to give the body. And that yogic will determine the tremendous hour. In the context of the autobiographical description, that tremendous hour of death is 5th December 1950, 1:25 a.m. Moment he speaks, everything you speak. It is a willed death to take things forward. It is that death which will open out the doors of faith. That yogic act of withdrawal, also to say death, is a tremendous hour when the gates of fate are thrown open, when the divine event can move forward. What is blocking? That block is removed in the tremendous hour of death. Yogically, Shri Bandhus giving up the body is in fact not really giving up the body, but establishing in the physical the supramental light and force and making it permanent here, fixing it up here in the earth. In its physical material body itself, it brings down the entire supramental light and force and fixes it up. That becomes the crucial act for unlocking the doors of faith. Then the work is carried forward. She shall do then the rest of the work. But the tremendous hour is fixed there in the Yogic Act. And it is 5th December 1950 at 1:25 a.m. night. From that moment onward, we see how things really started moving very fast, very rapidly. The mother carrying that work, because now the base is there, everything is there, and things are moving forward quickly, very rapidly. Within 6 years of that event, of the tremendous hour, the supramental light and force entered into the subtle physical of the earth on 29 February 1956. Within 6 years that has happened. This is a short time in the aeonic history of evolution. It has quickly happened like that, you see. That is the tremendous hour of death. Because yogically, everything was fixed there now. It was only a question of bringing it into operation. It is in the subtle physical. Bring it out into operation now in the gross outer physical. It is that which is going on, you see. Which is going on, you see. When Shivandu withdrew, Mother has described in great detail in the agenda in a number of places, in 2 or 3 places at least. She was standing by the side of his bed and they were looking into each other's eyes for a long time, almost for 20 minutes. Almost for 20, maybe roughly from 1 o'clock to 1:20 a.m. on 5th December. After that, Shivandu kind of simply said with his eyes, yes, you go away now. You go away now. He cannot withdraw from the physical in her presence. Her awful presence is such that it will not allow him to withdraw. So physically she had to move away from that place. And then it happened. She knew what was going to happen. It was an awkward necessity for her to go to her room and be away from him physically at that time. But then she says also, at that time, he was constantly passing on all the supramental light and force he had gathered in his body into her. Into her. What we call the mind of light. He passed on to the mother in a tremendous hour. The tremendous hour is the yogi passing on the mind of light to the Shakti. And it is the Shakti now who is going to do the work of that, you see. Because the mind of light in him, not perhaps necessary, not sufficient, maybe not so operative. It is the Shakti who has to do it. So he has to pass it on to her so that it can start working, you see. Pass it on to her. And then the whole thing started moving very rapidly from that moment on. So that is the tremendous hour. It was the day in which Satyavan must die. 5th December 1950, early morning. His fate should be changed and unchanging will. Well, their rendezvous is over. She had come all the way from Paris to Mati Mandir He had gone all the way from the ashram to Mata Mandir. They met there, maybe for an hour or so. She told him, told him, do this, don't bother, etc. He says, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go by your advice. You please do what I want you to do. He forces his will on her. She accepts it. She sees the merit in her. Not that she takes it as a defeat, as a contradiction at all, but she wants him to come out with that demand. She does not want to give it of him. She wants him to come out with the demand so that it can be granted with full force. You see, granting is one thing and giving is another thing. You see, she does not want to give. It is kind of a cheap gift. You see, if it is just given like that. You see. But when it is demanded and given, then it has a power and strength. So she allows him to speak out what he wants. He says, yes, yes, yes. Unlock the doors of fate. She says, yes, the doors of fate will be unlocked. Finished. Go away now. You see. So the rendezvous is over. And she says, one shall descend. Fate shall be changed when unchanging will. So the communique or the meeting or the colloquium is the one shall descend and fate shall be changed when it is recorded. They have signed the papers. One copy is with her, one copy is with him. Now time has come for them to go back to their respective places. From Mata Mandir, she has to go back to Paris. From Mata Mandir, he has to go back to the ashram and attend to the respective task. This is what the concluding section of the book is telling you, section 92. You see, the rendezvous is over and they are now separating party away. Now the important thing is, first, it is she who becomes unseen. She is not withdrawn. She becomes unseen. She becomes unseen. And afterwards, then he comes back to the earth. Now that was kind of missing in our yesterday's program. She should have first gone away and then Savitri come back to the earth, you see. It was kind of reversed yesterday's program, you see. It's my feeling. He says, the poet is now at liberty to describe the whole sequence, the event, the narrative. He is carrying on the narrative forward. As the flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished in his soul, immortally extinguished. What a kind of oxymoron, you see. In his soul vanished the splendor and was stilled the world. Vanished the splendor. The Divine Mother who was standing there, and still what she was speaking, that has stopped now. Whatever has to be communicated was communicated. Immortally extinguished, a flame disappears in endless light. You see, you have a very bright background and in front of it is a flame which is not that bright. So you can see the flame in the background of that light which is there behind. See, in physics we have a technique of measuring the temperature of hot bodies. You can't approach, you can't put thermometer, you can't do anything there at all because nothing can go. But the light is coming from a furnace, let us say, very hot furnace. Then you take a piece of wire, pass a little current there, and the current becomes hot and it becomes bright. Now you keep on increasing the power in the filament so that it becomes brighter and brighter. The moment the brightness of the wire matches with the brightness of the background, you don't see the wire at all. It vanishes. Not that the wire has gone away, but the wire is not visible to us. It is called the vanishing filament. The filament, you keep on increasing the power, it becomes brighter and brighter. It matches with the background intensity, and there is no difference between that and this. So you don't see the wire at all. If there is a little difference, the power between the two, then the wire becomes distinct. So in that sense, now she is receding into the brightness, becomes brighter and brighter, so that her brightness and the brightness is there behind, they become one, and therefore she is no more visible. In that sense, she has not perished, she is not extinguished, she is immortally there. With the same intensity with which she was present in front of the background, you see. In other words, when she is coming out of that intensity, she has to kind of come with reduced light. Obviously, she is presenting herself with somebody. Is not with that full thing. You can't see that thing at all. And therefore it was visible to her. She was visible. As the flame disappears in endless light, immortally extinguished in its source. See that radiant, that unknowable. She is coming from the unknowable. So it has gone back into the unknowable. Vanished the splendor and has stilled the world. So that is how she kind of goes out of view. She does not disappear. She goes out of view, you see. An echo of delight was once close. So she was speaking, that word was there, she was speaking. We were very close to her. An echo of delight that once was close. He was listening to that delight. The harmony journeyed to some distant hush, that unknowable hush. A music falling in the ear of trance, cadence far the distant cadences, a voice that trembled into strains withdrawn. Earlier, in the first sentence, it is the image of light. In this sentence, it is the image sound. How she has become silent. How she has fallen silent, you see. An echo of the line that once was closed. The harmony journeyed to some distant hush, distant as the unknowable, which is indescribable, which cannot be spoken in any language at all. And music, feeling in the ear of trance, when you are in deep trance, there is no music, nothing, silence. A cadence called by distant cadences. So although it is a hush, it is silence, it is not a total blank. It has its own cadences, its own music, its own life, its own attributes. They have not come into forefront in the manifestation, which is a different thing. That there. A cadence caused by distant cadence, a voice that trembled into strains withdrawn. So she had come to speak something, she has spoken. Now her job is done, she is going back, withdrawn. Her form retreated from the longing earth. We want her to be there, but she has gone back now. Forsaking nearness to the abandoned sense. See, our senses now have been left beside. They cannot approach her at all, ascending to her unattainable home. Unattainable home. The unknowable. Nobody can reach there. She is coming from the unknowable. Beyond the transcendent. Beyond any manifestation. She has gone out of total manifestation. She had appeared from the unknowable. She had presented herself to him. Now she is going back to her home. Ascending to her unattainable home. Lone, brilliant, vacant, like the inner field. Now what happens in between? So she has gone back. The fields are now lone, vacant, you see. All was unfilled, inordinate, spirit, space. Only spirit, space, that's all. She is not there now. The power is not there, but the spirit is there. Indifferent, waste, a desert of bright, indifferent because she is not there. Waste, because she is not there, her presence is not there. when her presence is not there, all is waste. All is waste. You see. A desert, a bright peace. So she has gone back, everything is now without her, their presence. But then what happens still? See, she has said one shall descend. Something should happen about that in that context, in that connection. Then a line moved on the far edge of calm. A warm, sentient, soft terrestrial wave, so calm, goes beyond spaces. From the unknowable, something is moving, stirring up the space. Then a line moved on the far edge of calm. The warm-lipped, sentient, soft terrestrial wave. You see, the wave has lips. They are warm lips. And they are moving in the space here. A quick and many murmured moan and laugh came gliding in upon white feet of sound, white feet of sound. So sound has feet and his feet are white. Because it is all in the brightness, in the luminosity there, is coming out here. Where is there? There is therefore sound. It is moving around here. Unlocked for the deep glory of silence, heart. Unlocked for the deep glory of silence. She said, he here unlocked the doors of faith. And therefore unlocked for the deep glory of silence. The unknowable who doesn't speak it out. It is he who is speaking out now. In what way? In what way? One shall descend. Now it is the description of one descending. That line, that movement, etc., etc. is what? Yes, she is coming. She has gone back, but she has left something behind her in the trace. And it is that trace which will take birth as Savitri. Unlocked for the deep glory of silence, the absolute unmoving stillnesses. That is the description of the unknowable. Absolute unmoving stillnesses. Surrender to the breath of mortal air. She has come now into the mortal peak, into the mortal space. She is absolute, she is silent, but she has now accepted the mortal birth. She has condescended to pass the portals of the birth. That is the death. That is the description. Surrender to the earth, to the breath of mortal. Surrender to the breath of mortal. She accepts, she condescended to pass the portals of the birth. That is the death. That is the mortal birth of Savitri, of the Divine Mother on earth. Surrender to the breath of mortal air, dissolving boundlessly the heavens of trance, collapse to waking mind. So she has now come into the waking mind here. In the field where man is, Manomaya Purusha is there, where the evolution has, the state to which the evolution has come. Unlocked for the deep glory of silence, the absolute unmoving stillnesses, surrender to the breath of mortal air, dissolving boundless to the heavens of grace, collapse to waking mind. So all that thing which is, that stir which is there, it has now found itself into the mortal state, into mind. Eternity cast down its incommunicable lids. Looking down here. Cast down its incommunicable lids. Over its solitudes removed from ken, then the voiceless mystery of sleep. Now everything is kind of closed there, you see. The grandiose spike came, the white relief. She has come back now as a trace, as a line, as a movement. One shall descend. That is the immediate description